Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rader. This video is for students taking economics. This is the second video of a two-video series on day 7 of Unit 2, looking at the impact of government subsidies on supply and demand. And this video is going to look specifically at the article on solar subsidies, where you will be asked to summarize the author's primary arguments and to respond to each of the statements that follow, supporting your responses with evidence from the text. So first one is a statement: the government should stop subsidizing the solar industry. So you'll want to think about arguments that support it and arguments that may not support that idea. Government subsidies will slow down the rate of solar panel technological innovation, and solar subsidies will slow down the decarbonization of the US economy. And again, you'll just use the blue box to add in your responses. So just as a quick refresher, and you can get a more detailed explanation in video 1 of this series, is this resource from day 7, Subsidies and Pizza Slices from our Passport to Social Studies curriculum. And I just want to briefly go over the information in this supply and demand curve. So again, note the price is on the y-axis, the quantity that is being demanded or supplied is on the x-axis. The original supply under free market condition is labeled as S. The new supply curve, or S1, thinking about the subsidy, is plotted to the right. And we see that the demand curve did not necessarily shift. But we do notice that when the subsidy was put into place, we have more quantity of goods that are being demanded, right? 125 as opposed to 100. And we see that the price point is lower now at equilibrium. Instead of being $10, the new equilibrium price is $5. And that's the direct consequence of the subsidy. So looking at this article on solar subsidies, just an easy way to help you with your annotations. If you're looking for arguments for the subsidies, use a yellow highlighter. If you're looking for arguments against subsidies, use the light blue highlighter. And again, you can find that by clicking on highlight color and then pick a color of your choice, but you just want to make sure that your color, you have two different colors so that you can have your arguments for and your arguments against. And if we see in the introductory paragraph, we can see that one of the main arguments for these subsidies is that it allows these renewable resource energy companies to stay afloat while it is expensive for them to maintain their industries, and so they can reach an economy of scale where they'll be able to be profitable and survive on their own. And then an argument against is that some are seeing it as a blatant grab for taxpayer dollars, and that it's more about the industry executives getting rich than really getting a green industry future with a lower carbon footprint. So as you go through the reading, you'll want to highlight where you can see, again, arguments clearly for, arguments clearly against. So we can see one argument is clearly for. This individual is the CEO of Solar Energy Industries Association, is claiming he wants an extension of the 30% tax credit beyond its current expiration date in 2016. If it's not extended, 100,000 people are going to lose their jobs. So that's a pretty strong incentive to keep the subsidy going. And then we can see, by contrast, on the second page, the writer of the article, we can actually see what their bias is. And this writer says, personally, I believe the private sector is smart enough to invest in promising new technologies and wait for the profits to emerge later. And then they give some examples. They mention Twitter, Amazon, and Tesla, which again isn't necessarily indicative of all companies, but it is illustrative of like some of the most successful companies. And then the writer says, whichever viewpoint you agree with, who advocates nursing an immature industry through 30 or 40-year childhood, again, clearly is leaning towards not having the subsidy. So you'll want to think about, again, the evidence for, the evidence against, and that will allow you to really come up with good responses to these problems, thinking about, should we stop subsidizing this industry at this point? Have they grown up? Have they matured enough where the prices for production is low enough where they can do it on their own, or do they still need the continued support from the government? And then when you wrap up the lesson with your teacher and with your classmates, you'll want to think about these questions and consider if these subsidies overall are more helpful or more harmful to not just the solar industry, but to the American people as a whole, and really to our global population as it relates to thinking about climate change and our carbon footprint. All right, everybody, have a great day. Take care.